in Nouvelle Cuisine now, we do a lot of very light, elegant type of dish. And this is what we're going to do today. We're going to do a terrific man dish with pasta, you know, which is very striking. But we start with grilling. There is a lot of grilling in Nouvelle Cuisine. And here I'm grilling eggplant. Those are the small, narrow eggplant. What I did, I put a tiny bit of oil on top of it, a dash of salt, and this is it. You put them on the barbecue. It's a great thing to do in summer also. They get soft, and after we're going to season them slightly with a dressing made of oil and soy and so forth. So while those are cooking, I'm going to leave that here. I'm going to show you how to make the dressing and talk to you about those eggplant. As you can see here, I have two different types of eggplant. Those are the long, narrow one, which you cut sometime, you know, you have them on the market which have that light color. I have them white also. They have them white, they have them that color, they have them darker, and so forth. They have them narrow and long. Sometimes some are long like this. And then the big one, rounder like this. You want to cut them, one or the other can be used. You want to cut them into about half-inch slice, this way. But look at that one here. The big one is actually pretty good, especially toward the outside. As you get toward the center, it tends to have a bit more seed and be a bit more cottony, you know. So you can choose either one, you know. Sometimes you don't have the choice because this is what you have at the market. But I like the ones which are firm and not too soft in the center. Now here, well, look at them. If they start, look at them, check them out. Look at those, they are beautiful. They brown beautifully. So even notice also that I have left the skin. You see those have the skin on, and it's fine. If your grill goes a bit too fast, you reduce it, but you want them nicely marked like that around. Those are beautiful and soft. You know, they are used sometimes in famous Greek or Turkish dish we call moussaka, where you line up a dish with those slices and fill up lamb in the center. It's very good. Now, the dressing that we want to do for that is very simple also. What we have here is a dark soy sauce. We put a couple of tablespoons of dark soy sauce. Rice vinegar, it's a very mild vinegar. You know, the rice vinegar is quite mild. A bit in it, and a little bit of olive oil on top. You know, not much. And a little dash of salt. And this is about it. So you do that type of sauce, you know, which is very clear and transparent and goes well with it. And with that, we are going also, you mix it to emulsify the oil a little bit. And with that, we are going to serve a mixture of different herbs, a mixture of different salad rather. I have that red so-called radicchio, you know, salad from Italy called radicchio. It is not from Italy, but it's very well known in Italy. Almost like a cabbage looking, but red and very bitter, you know, a beautiful bitter taste. And in the middle of this, again, another salad, I have some arugula here. And the arugula is, of course, a kind of garlicky type of salad, you know, and this is terrific too. So you can do any array of salad that you have for this to present your eggplant. And I will check them out now. They should be basically ready. As you see, I can touch them and they are soft. You see how soft they are? This is what you want, you know, soft eggplant like this. Very easy recipe, and you know, if you don't have eggplant, use zucchini. Zucchini will be perfectly fine. Conventionally, you know, we always serve, or I always serve the eggplant with the skin, and the zucchini also for that matter. So, what you want is to arrange them on top here. Always show the nice side. Check it out, you know. If one is nicer than the other one, I like the darker side, you know. Outside it's a bit hot here, but it's okay. And very simply on top of this, you know, we put our dressing, you know. There that we put a bit all over it. We're going to make a Chinese, going to flavor it, you know. And this makes a terrific first course, or bring that to a picnic, you know. And now, I want to show you something which is quite interesting. It's working with different type of pasta, or so-called pasta. Actually, what I'm using here is wonton skin. And you see those wonton skin, you keep them wrapped up because you don't want them to get too dry. They are made basically with water and flour, like pasta. Those are 6 inches diameter. They come larger, they come smaller. You can pick them the way you want, and they separate nicely. You can do all kind of pasta with it. Look at that. If I put a bit of flour on top, so they don't stick, then I can roll it together like this, and I make pasta. Now, if I make pasta that size here, I have a type of noodle, you see? Now, if I make it bigger, I have basically what is called tagliatelle, you know, the large noodle, and so forth, or very, very fine, you know. If I do them very, very fine, I have a kind of vermicelli, you know, the small, tiny vermicelli that you do in soup. So look at that, you know, you say you want to do fresh pasta, no problem. Takes 2 minutes with that. So here I have this and that. Other thing that you can do with it is stuffing, you know. Here, if I want to do a stuffing, I can use, let's say, a cutter like this to do ring. Up, I make this one. You do 2 rings, and we do what we call a ravioli. You know, and the ravioli is really a sandwich. So what do? You brush that with a little bit of water. Use your finger or that, one at least of them, so that they stick in the center. I have a stuffing here of herb and meat, but you can do, we do a lot of ravioli with vegetable. You press that in, use a smaller thing than that, use the back of it to press in the center of it, you know, and they glue together because of the water. Drop that into water to poach it, beautiful ravioli. What else do you do with it? You do pelmeni, what the Russian call pelmeni, you know. And again, you can cut it round or with a decorated pattern like this. And again, brush it with water or with your finger, just wet it. A little bit of stuffing. This is classic in a soup, you know, the Russian serve, and you fold it this way to press it around. Again, you can use the side of this if you want, and it's like a half moon. And that half moon, you poach that with a strong stock, you know, chicken stock. Terrific. That's the pelmeni. Actually, in there, they also put a bit of dill, and that's great. Now, if you don't want to lose any, you can cut square, you know, like this, little square, and do the same thing with it. I brush a square, again, wet it with water, with my finger, a little bit of dressing, and do it in a triangle, you know, this time. This way here, this way here, you know. And that you poached. Of course, you know, there is all of the type of wonton skin that Chinese do, where they fold with a little edge here, but I'm not good enough to do that, so I'm leaving that here. What we are doing today, however, is slightly different. What we're going to do is to brush the counter with a little bit of oil, you know, so that it slides nicely. Take one of those long 6-inch things, and inside I put watercress here. You can put watercress leaves, you can put cilantro, you can put parsley, you can put whatever you want. And we put the first one. Actually, one of the two has to be wet, again, so it sticks. So I'll take that second one and wet it with water on this side. Put it there, and that's it. And now we want to roll this. I'll put this out of the way. And you see it's going to slide because I have some oil, and it will extend, and this will not double in size, but get at least a third bigger, so that the leaf that I have in the center, the watercress in that case, is starting breaking down, you know, and extend it, and I have a double sheet. And this is what we are going to use in our handkerchief of fish today. And I'm going to bring that back with me. Okay, put it here. And what I want to start is the fish, which are going to do fish and shellfish that we are going to use today. And as you can see here, I have yellow pepper, I have scallion, I have salmon, I have oyster, some open, some not open, and scallop. You know, to open the oyster, you have to use a towel, an oyster opener, and go in the hinge here, and just crack it open. And with this, you have to slide underneath to break that open, you know, cut it at the joint here, And this is the way, basically, you separate the second part of it. It should be very clean, no shell in it. And this is the way you use them, keeping them into the liquid like this, as I've done here. Now that liquid, you know, now we're going to use that liquid right here to do the sauce for our dish here. Now what I want here is to use a little bit of yellow pepper. I have beautiful yellow pepper, and what we do, often I peel it, you know, or the red one. It makes it a bit more delicate for that type of dish, you see. Now I peel whatever I can reach. In the pleat here, what I cannot reach, see what happens? You cut it this way, and the part that you could not reach before here, now you can reach at the edge of it, you know, a little piece left. You know, you don't have to peel it. If you don't want to peel it, it's fine. That is, you won't go to jail or anything like this. It's not that bad, but it makes it better. If you peel it, it doesn't come back to you, and we do a fine julienne with that, you know. Give a lot of color to the sauce. Of course, you can use red pepper, green pepper, a mixture of different type of pepper. I put that in there. I'm going to put this on to cook it, because that has to cook for a couple of minutes with the scallion. We're going to put scallion finely chopped here, finely minced. I want it very finely minced, about 3 or 4 tablespoons of it, you know. Won't take very long. So the scallion and the pepper, the juice of the oyster, that's what goes in first. Actually, you know, I could put a little bit of white wine in there also. Now, I have those scallops here, and there is a muscle on the scallop, you know, that sinew, which is a bit tougher. So I'm removing this to put that here. That we're going to cut into pieces, maybe in 2 if they are too big. You can leave them whole. You can use sea scallop. You can use what we call best scallop, you know, and so forth. But those are beautiful. They smell good. Sometimes, you know, touch them with your finger. You may feel a little bit of grits, and at that time it would be that they need to be washed, or there is some sand. So I have my scallop here, and salmon. I have a pound of salmon here, which I'm going to cut into like 1-inch pieces. So I have a nice different array, and you can change that. If you don't have scallop, you can put shrimp instead of scallop. You can put other things. We have those 3 different types of shellfish here. Now let's see what happened in that case here. In the dish that I want to do, I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of olive oil. That's what goes in the recipe, because this is creating the sauce in the same time. And a tablespoon of butter, unsalted butter. I'm going to put now the scallop and the salmon in there, and that really is not really going to take that long to cook. And cracked pepper. Cracked pepper. I will taste the juice, you know, taste the juice, because I may put a tiny dash of salt, but not much, because of the saltiness of the juice from the oyster. The oyster we'll put at the end, because it will take no time to cook. Now what we want to cook are those here it is. The handkerchief we call there. So that are going to go into water, right here. Here again. Maybe we put 3, and they're going to cook. This should come back to a boil pretty fast. You know, it's basically cooked, huh? What we want to do is to put the oyster at the end, and maybe I put a cover until it comes back to a boil. The oyster, I'll leave it in the center. It really won't take much long to cook. And now let's see if this came back to a boil. Basically, you know, this cooks extremely fast. You know, as soon as it comes back to a boil, it is basically ready. Because remember how thin it is, you know. So I would want to take them out. This is fine. You know, if you think you're going to have any problem with those, you could dip them into cold water. They will open in the cold water, as I have here. But if you're going to use them right away, as I'm going to use them right away, you could oil them so they don't stick together. So this is what we are going to do. Now, we put them there, they are boiling hot. I want to present this. This is now cooked enough. Cooked enough. I don't want to over cook it. So I have it there, serving right in the middle. A little bit of the oyster, the salmon, the scallop, maybe a couple more oyster, and the juice, of course, which are the beautiful color there. And finally, I want to put my handkerchief on top of it here, you know, which I have. They are quite hot, and as I say, have a tendency, but they will wrap around here, you see. And on top of this, a little bit of scallion. And here is our beautiful nouvelle cuisine dish in our menu. Now for our nouvelle cuisine menu, we're going to do a dessert. And the dessert, we're going to do a meringue. A meringue is egg white beaten with sugar. Conventionally, you put 1 cup of sugar for 4 egg white. Here we're putting about half a cup of sugar, so less sugar. And we're going to pipe them. You can do it with a spoon, or with a spoon, but we're going to pipe it into a pastry bag. When you use a pastry bag, first you turn the outside so that you don't smear things all around. Then you put, usually you have 2 types of tip, you see. You have the so-called star tip and the plain one. Smaller, bigger, and so forth. Those are large ones, so you put that down. This way you press it so that it comes really at the end, at the way you... And if you put something in there which is very runny, then you will twist this and push that inside, you see, so that when you fill up your pastry bag, the things are not falling all over the place. For the meringue, it's not that important because the meringue is not very runny. So, we are ready now. You have to be ready by the time you beat your egg white. So I have my egg white here, and again, in a copper bowl, I start very fast to break the egg white so that they are liquid. Then I go slowly to lift it up. You know? And again, here we're doing that. I am doing it in a copper bowl. Stainless steel bowl would be very fine too, providing the bowl is clean. If the bowl is not clean and if it's slightly fatty, not cleaned properly, then it won't foam, it won't be. Because you see, we do it in a copper bowl because the copper itself will acidify the egg white. And acidification of egg white will tend to make it foam. If you don't have egg white, if you don't have a copper bowl rather, you put a couple of drops of lemon juice, citric acid, a couple of drop of vinegar even, acetic acid, or a pinch of cream of tartar, tartaric acid. Any of this, if you have copper, you don't have to put anything. And even if you do it in stainless steel and don't put anything, it's fine also. It doesn't make that much difference. But then you cannot beat it in aluminum. In aluminum, it won't work. Now look at that here. This is holding a peak, a beautiful peak, nice. This is the way I want it. This is when you put the sugar in it. Now the sugar, you don't have to put it that slowly. Here I put the sugar, almost all of it now. And now I stir it. To work it, make it tight, you know. You see, when you do a meringue like this, if I put the sugar very fast in it, I will do a very, very, very dry meringue. Even though my mixture now is still slightly grainy, I can feel the sugar. Yet, however, the meringue is going to be dry. If, however, as many recipes tells you, you put the sugar in it and beat it for a while with the sugar, you're going to make a mixture like marshmallow that you can keep much longer. But that mixture is going to be like marshmallow, you know, kind of a chewy and elastic, not brittle and dry like the meringue that I will do. So here we are. You turn this so that you're at the end. And now we want to bring our tray. I line that up with parchment paper, you know, and we want to do just a plain straight meringue this way. you know, and what we want to do is to pull it out to make little pricky thing, just for decoration, you know. If you want a straight one, you know, you put another one on top like this, and you see it will come out straight. And again, you can pull those this way after, if you want to. It's not that important. So again, the meringue is quite easy to do, and we cook them at low temperature, you know, about 200 degrees. It takes 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours, depending on the humidity and all that. I tell you, when I was a kid, we used to do this. We used to actually put them in l'étuve, we call. This was the place where we warm up the plate, about 150 degrees. They stay overnight, 24 hours. I have some which are cooked here. It's not even just warm because, and they pick up a little bit of color, as you can see, but they are dry. That's what you want. And those cook for a number of hours, about 4 hours. And I'm going to do a raspberry sauce with it. I have frozen raspberry, which is defrosted here, without any sugar in it, plain. To sweeten it, I'm putting unsweetened raspberry jam, you know, instead of sugar. And then you push the whole thing through. Now, I could do that in a food processor without any question, but in the food processor, I would have to strain it. Now here, I strain it to the end, and the seed that I have here, you see? The seed that I have here, I can even put them in vinegar. You know, people like vinegar, raspberry vinegar, or thing like this. Now, look at them here. Sometimes it needs to be strained again, because sometimes even through the hole, but this is a very fine one, there is no hole, I'm not going to restrain it. But I want to put some orange in it. And what we want to do here is to peel an orange totally, you know, skin and all, the two parts. I could actually use some of the skin of that orange, you know, use some of the skin of the orange to make a julienne, you know, to put it on top. But this is going to be fine this way. And what we do here is to cut actually dice of this, see, to mix in our sauce. It's a bit different. And there is a certain acidity to the orange, and also a beautiful color with the raspberry. You know, it works well together. So cut it into half-inch dice here. And now I mix that with my raspberry. And we are ready to put it together now. A raspberry orange sauce. What you want to do is to put that in the bottom of your plate, you know. You're going to have, and after a while, you know, the pieces of orange are going to come out, and the color of the orange is going to be visible again. You know, I have one more here. Then we take one meringue. I think I like that one, to put in the center of it. It's very crunchy. We can put a couple of fresh raspberry. Of course, the color is very close to it. Maybe a couple of decorating flowers. Maybe even shredded mint, you know, that we put in there, that you can cut with a knife. You can mix that in your sauce, you know, shredding the mint all over the plate, and that makes a delicious and very flavorful dessert. In that Nouvelle Cuisine menu, we did emphasize the aesthetic of food, presentation a little bit, and it's fine. But you know, you have to realize that the food, the aesthetic of the food has absolutely no value unless it's good to eat. So first, the only important thing in food is taste, whether it's good or not. That's what's important. If it happens to be good and you can make it look good too, then terrific, but it is not really the most important. Yet, however, we have beautiful dish today, very tasty. The eggplant just grilled, you know, in a modern way with a little bit of dressing on top. And of course, that seafood on an handkerchief, a pasta, you know, which is very versatile and very striking. And of course, that beautiful dessert with meringue and fruit. We're going to serve a Macon-Lugny les Charmes, you know, and this is about 20 miles from where I was born, in Lower Burgundy, so that brings pleasant memory. I enjoy cooking that dish for you and that whole meal for you, and I hope you're going to do it for your friend and enjoy it as well. Happy cooking.